I knew that I knew that he was a real person because the way you can tell if a person is real in the dream world is a real person won't go away if
Right.
you ignore them. A dream character, you
Exactly.
ignore them and they just disappear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's very true.
So he kept attacking Raven, Knight, and I, and we talked about it, and we felt like there is a person in there, and also the other reason I knew that he was a real person is because he was cussing like a little Halo fanboy, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
flipping out, and he was like, saying, "I'm a Night Stalker, bitch! I'm a Night Stalker," and he
Mm.
changed into Goku.
That's
and
hilarious.
Yeah, in my dream and also in Raven's dream. So I knew that, I'm not into Dragon Ball Z that much. I think it's cool. It's all right. But that's not in my archetype, so I knew that he couldn't have been a manifestation of my mind.
Yeah.
Uh, so Raven and I was getting really frustrated because he kept interrupting our dreams, and I didn't know what to do. It was like, do we put him in some type of prison? Or what and um,
Yeah.
we decided to try and heal him. Raven is an awesome healer
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the dream world. She actually did healing energy work in the lucid dream on my neck after a car accident. But she's a bard, uses song magic
Right, right,
to
right.
do her spells, and we kind of just snuck up on him on Tooth, and who the cuss calls Gimpy, and
Yeah.
did this healing spell on him. And it's kind of like, you know how in role playing games you do a healing spell on the undead and it hurts
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, he was these this dream demon came out of him, and uh, Spike lurched forward and tackled him to the ground. Spike is a vampire
Yeah.
that is a lover of Raven Knight from past lives, like
Right.
Celine.
Okay.
Uh, so anyway, he and then we went to this Glen of Healing, um, and there was another one, and I pulled out a shotgun and just one-handed shotgun and blew it away. I just got that idea from the avatar. That my avatar. I just wanted to comment on that. It's
Yeah.
really crazy. I
Okay.
just typed in Nomad into DeviantArt,
Right.
and there's this badass dude wearing all white,
Yeah.
which is how I perceive myself as a nomad with this like hot chick, and he's like
Right.
stepping on a demon.
Um.
And then after that, the frost giant came,
Yeah.
which Raven perceives as Crystal Golem,
Interesting.
and took this boy away. He's just a young boy. He's only about 12 years old, and he took him away to a cave to help him and teach him things and learn a new dream skill set that was not based on being disgusting.
Right. Right.
Uh,
Right.
and what we found out about him from Q, who is dream guide of Ravens, she perceives him as Q from Star Trek.
That would be an awesome dream guide. I bet.
Yeah, he's cool, man. He's really cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, he told her that he is a young boy who just had this natural dream walking ability, and
Yeah.
these two dream demons recognized that and latched onto him and turned him into this kind of Night Stalker hybrid, kind of like Spider-Man when he had the symbiote on him.
Yeah. 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 Okay. I'm gonna. We're at the 45-minute mark, and Raven Knight is here, and she's no longer in the call, and she's kind of frustrated. So I'm gonna take a 5-minute break, and then I guess we'll get to my story. You can interview me
Yeah.
for half an hour, 45 minutes, and then we'll get to your
Yeah.
questions. So I'm gonna take a break, and so what I'd like you to do is end the call and then restart it so Raven Knight can join again. Okay.
Okay, so are you gonna invite us or?
Um.
Uh,
Uh. All right, and we're back. So now we are going to switch roles, and Nathan is going to ask me about my dreaming experience, especially with shared dreaming and a bit of my story. So I'm going to hand it over to him. Okay, shoot.
Um, so tell me about uh, your experience with dreaming as a child and what got you started keeping a dream journal in kindergarten.
Um, it's a very complex story. I'm going to try to keep it as short as possible so I can move on. But at the time, uh, I had just been taken away from my mother because she's a paranoid schizophrenic, and
Yeah.
so I spent the first few years of my life around that. And since she was my only influence on my perception of reality, that perception was just utterly shattered. And then I went to live with my dad, and I actually had a similar conversation with my dad about death. And for years, I kind of wondered about that. So naturally, I was in and out of trouble early on in school, and so I would see a school counselor regularly, and I would tell her about all these dreams that I would have because I was always fascinating. I just have these really weird dreams, and I began to notice the difference between my normal waking memories and my dream memories. I used to confuse the two,
Yeah. Wow.
and so she encouraged me to write about them in a journal. So I think I only kept a couple. I think I only wrote a couple dreams in that journal. But yeah, that's how I got started. And it's kind of embarrassing. The actual first lucid dream that I had was was around the same time. I was still kind of wetting the bed, right? And I noticed that how when I'm in my dreams, I'd have to go to the washroom. When I went to the washroom in my dreams, I was going to the washroom in real life, right?
Right.
And so one night I had to go to the washroom and I was still in a dream, and I suddenly realized I was in a dream. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like, okay, I don't want to wet the bed. I gotta get up and I gotta go. So I try to wake myself up. I try to open my eyes, but I'd only roll my eyes to the back of my head, right?
Mm.
And so in this dream I was running. It was nighttime, and I went to the school. And I was looking for a washroom, but at the same time trying to wake up. And that was basically the only lucid dream that I had until I came to Dream Views.
Wow.
Um, do you want me to go on about how I got interested in lucid dreaming?
Actually, first, yes, but first I want to hear you talk about. I want to hear your comment about that. You said you had a similar conversation with your father about death. What was that about?
Well, I never asked him, you know, where what happened before I was born, but my mother at the time was a Christian, right? And my dad had recently went atheist, and around
Mm.
the time I went to live with them, and so um, I remember trying to remember what it was like before I was alive, and there was just this big black, not even black. It's just I'm just here. I don't even remember. I don't even know where I started. You know,
Right.
I'm not even sure if I started in this lifetime. It's just this weird feeling. So I asked my dad, you know, what happens when we die, and he would tell me. And keep in mind, I'm like 9, 10 years old when I'm hearing this, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And he just basically says you basically go back to what it was like before you were born, you know.
Mm.
And it was just this inconceivable void, um, and it scared the hell out of me, to tell you the truth. Um, and so sometimes I would wake up, or I'd lay awake for quite a few long hours, you know, wondering about it. And sometimes if I think about it too much, I kind of have a little panic attack,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. But now that I'm older and that I've read into other knowledge and some of the experiences that I have, I have come to believe